Hi, everyone. Welcome in to Primetime TV. You caught us right behind the scenes, having fun and laughing, because that's what we do here. And today, we have our theme on What's Your Story? And for many of you that have been with us in the past, you know that we're here to help inspire and motivate you to share your story.
Right.
I'm Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is Helena Trangata, publisher.
Hey.
And back, of course, by popular demand is Krisula Gause, author in progress. How about that?
Yeah. With Helena and Barbara's help.
So we're going to be talking about a lot in this hour. We're going to really fill it up with a lot. When was the last time that we were in the show? Just you and me?
A month ago.
Was it a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we do it every third Monday is about What's Your Story, because we know that there's a story that everyone has. Whether you want to share it or not, that's entirely up to you. But what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking to my dear friend Helena, who is also going to be the publisher of my future book series, Life Empowered, Life Mastered, and I'm very excited about that. And let me tell you, it's been a lot of work, and I work a little bit on it each day. Why? Because I want to get a message out. That's the other reason why we do this show, is to get a message out, to just add that little piece of something to the world to make it a little bit better. And if we all do our part, guess what? It works. So, Helena, you started being a publisher. In fact, Krisula was saying, oh, Joe Trangata, he's doing it too. So there's a story. Here's another story on how you became a publisher. Did you ever think you were going to do that?
No, it wasn't in my wildest dreams. Although I love books. I mean, you know, so I guess you have this love of books that has kind of followed me through life. So I do love books, and I was a librarian assistant back when, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I was a kid in school. And then, as many of you know, Barb and I were certified coaches with the same company many years ago. And we both have tried to find our niche. You know, it's not like you go into, unlike Krisula anyway, went into coaching, not for sure exactly what my niche was. I just knew that I wanted to empower women and support women. And then plus I had her kind of like saying, get out there, get out there. Go, you can do it. So I went on social media to grow my coaching business. That's what I did. And that's when I learned. So that was 9 years ago. Do you know that was 9 years ago?
Yeah.
9 or 10 years ago, because I've been on Facebook over that long. And I never was on Facebook before. So I went on Facebook to grow my coaching business. And about the same time, my husband was writing his second book. And he had published traditionally on his first book, and never published his book as an ebook. So I'm saying, we should publish your books as an ebook. That's the way everything's going. And he was like, yeah, yeah. And I would send him all this stuff of how to do it. He'd say, yeah, yeah. And I was like, I'm going to have to do it for him. So I decided I would do it. And so I took it as a project. I took his first book, which was Every Day Above Ground, which is right here. Can I show this, Barb?
Yeah, I can.
Yes. Barb usually says, don't touch it. That's what she says to me. Because
otherwise, it'll be like this, okay? No offense.
You know your strengths, and Barb's let me know that that's not one of mine.
Yeah, this
so anyway,
Every Day Above Ground is a great book. It truly is.
It was published by a traditional publishing house. They did not publish the ebook. So in preparation for his second book, I published this book as an ebook. And I wrote about it on my coaching page because I didn't have much else to write about. Right? So I wrote about it on my coaching page. And what happened was people came to me and said, can you help me with my book? So as I'm publishing his book and talking about the process, it was still rather new to e-publish. And at that time, people said, can you help me? So that's how it happened. I trained myself on how to do that.
Absolutely.
I published that book as an ebook. Then we published his second book, which is What Are the Odds, Barb? she's my Vanna today.
Oh, yes.
What Are the Odds? A couple years later. And then his last book is On the Stand, actually. And this is Just Like a Philly Girl. And
this is just fresh off the press.
No,
right?
Actually, it's been out a couple years, but he just got requested to send it to Writer's Digest for a contest.
Oh, nice.
So they had read it and said that this is a possibility that he could win.
So exciting.
A fair amount of money if he wins, and so he just sent that to them. But it was so fun because I got to hear things about my husband, because this started off as an autobiographical type of fiction. So I got to hear a lot about his story as he was growing up, way before I ever knew him. Then as people started coming to me with their stories, then we would, you know, I would learn their story, and everybody wants to do it just a little bit differently.
Right.
Some people want to write it in longhand, some people want to put it on a computer, some people want to speak it into a dictaphone or something. So we've done everything since in the time that I've been doing this 10 years. It's hard to believe.
I know.
I don't even know how many books I've done anymore. It must be somewhere around 60. But the thing is that it's something that I truly have enjoyed every step of the way. Every author I have, Doug Casimiri had written this book. And what I also love about it is you can do it on the inexpensive side. This was a very inexpensive cover that we had created for Doug. Isn't that nice, though?
That is.
Very inexpensive. And here's the flip side of that. And even this one, we paid to have this cover done. And I love that cover. But this one was probably even cost a little bit more because Karen had it designed. Obviously professional photography, and hers is the only one of these that is a color book. Do you want to flip through that?
Well, and the thing is that you can do it in, you know, however you want to do it. If you want to invest a few dollars and do some of the color, as you can see in here, full color in here. I kind of like that. Excuse me. There's something for every budget, right?
Right, because this and this are probably the separate ends of the spectrum on cost.
Exactly.
And this has no pictures in it, so it looks really nice here, but this book actually costs a lot more because it's printed in color.
Okay.
So the cost is considerably different. Also depends on how many you're going to sell, whether you're going to be selling in the ebook, selling the hard copy book, selling it to a crowd. Karen had, she was fantastic as far as building a following before her book ever came out. So she had a lot of people kind of like waiting to buy her book, and she would autograph it and give it to them.
Oh, wow.
So it made a huge difference. The ebooks are all in color on the Kindle.
Okay.
If you have a color Kindle. I guess there's still black and white Kindles out there. I'm not for sure, but like I have an iPad, and all the books that are in color they show up. You know, if there's pictures into an ebook,
that's good to
they
know.
all show as color, but it's not until you print them you have to decide to do the black and white. So the cost is different. Also, you know, for cost, the amount of pages in the book are determine your cost as well. So until we get some idea of how many pages and whether you're going to do black and white, it's really hard to tell you how much is. When I say cost, it's the cost to print it.
Right.
So I usually have been using Amazon, and Amazon is very reasonable, and it's print on demand, where used to, when Joe first had his book published, The Everyday Above Ground, he had to buy like 100 books to get a decent price.
Oh.
So if you don't sell them, guess what? They just sit in your garage.
Right, exactly.
Where these you get, you can buy quantity 1 and get the same price as quantity 100.
See, that's so
that's
very cool.
amazing.
It's
I
very
love
cool
that.
because you know, and the other part of that is that's also cool. Or maybe you are going to sell 100, but let's say you're speaking in Savannah. You know, you just order, if you expect to sell 30 books or 40 books or whatever, you have them shipped to Savannah. So you don't have to lug them to Savannah as your luggage and lug them back. Hopefully you've sold them all.
Right, right.
And the cost is the same.
And that's exactly what my husband did for the 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth, because he was going to different speaker events, and that book was like the Bible, the 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth, because it tells it all, and we're still living that today. And back then, this is an interesting point, he hired a publicist, $75,000 as a ghostwriter back then, to do his book, and he did speak into the microphone and all of that. But you know, I want to bring something up right now, because it's really kind of coming together, and I'm kind of getting this as we kind of, as a backstory, going all the way back, if we rewind, to where Miss Helena was just before she decided what her niche was going to her heart and developing a passion for this, unbeknownst to her. And if you remember that, when we were at the house, and I always like to tell that story because I was doing a coaching event, and I'm going to let you tell the story. As you left there crying, you didn't know what happened after that, but after that, you found that niche, and there's a reason why I'm sharing this, because of exactly what happened from that, how did I know you were going to be my publisher to publish what I was coaching on in this meeting of about 10 women? So you share why you left crying.
Well, I didn't know Barb very well. We had met at a networking group, and she had invited me to a Friday night coffee girls thing. And I knew it was about coaching. We both were certified through the Compass coaching program. And she had her friend, a mutual friend now, British Hill, was also there. And I didn't know British at all until that night. So I went to just be nice, really.
I find this out.
And I even said to her, I can't stay long. I have a big event tomorrow. I had I was selling cosmetics. And I said, tomorrow I'm going to be going to Tampa and doing this big event, so I won't be staying long. And she actually got me there. I think she said, well, you can pass out cards here. I think that was part of it. So I went, and I sat there, and I observed, and, I felt very detached in the very beginning. And then I heard stories, and the question was?
The question was that I posed to everyone was this, and I will ask you this, too, because when you leave the show today, I want you to think about this, because this is what triggered Helena, along with several other women, changing their lives, a complete flip. And that question was, if you had all the money in the world right now, and you had your house paid off, you had the car, brand new car that's paid off, lots of money in the bank, you can go on vacation, or maybe you're working still for someone else, a corporation, and you sit back and you ask yourself, if everything was paid for, I didn't need to work, would you be doing exactly what you're doing right now? And I sat back and I was quiet. And what happened that night, it was just such a transformation for some of these women, because I think, well, you were selling Arbonne at the time, a very good company,
Right.
but it wasn't her passion. And she didn't know what it was, and she didn't know what to do with all of this stuff that women were sharing with one another. I mean, really pouring their hearts out. And
But I was getting stories then. I mean, that was part of the thing, is I was showing these women cosmetics. They were buying a lipstick or a blush or whatever. It doesn't matter. They were buying it because they were trying to fix something about themselves. And I knew that that wasn't going to fix it. I knew that they had to find happiness their own way, and it wasn't through cosmetics. And I'm not anti-cosmetics by any means, but when I heard that I could actually touch their hearts and touch their souls by allowing them to talk and to coach them to step into their greatness, that was what took me to tears. That and all these women's stories as they're going around the room. We had tears, we had laughter, and when they got to me, I mean, there had been probably 5 or 6 people speak before me, and they were all answering the same question. They were all answering the same question, and when it got to me, I was just kind of like, I'm good.
Miss Tough Cookie here. Yeah.
I was like, I'm good, because I knew I had to get out of there. I didn't have time to go into anything. I didn't want to be emotional. I didn't know these women. I didn't know anybody in the room except Barb.
Nobody really did.
And Sharon. Yes. And so I was like, I'm good. So your daughter-in-law, which was not your daughter-in-law at that time, she was there. She was sitting next to me. And I heard these touching stories, and I'm thinking, there's something here that I'm here for. There's a reason I'm here. But I left. I was like, excuse myself pretty quickly. I left. I got in the car. I'm bawling, literally bawling. And I don't even know why. I don't even know why, except that these stories had touched me. And I called a friend that was supposed to be there, but she couldn't be there. Her name is Alice Delgado, and I still regard her as one of my best friends. And she couldn't be there because she was doing a wedding officiant thing. And so I said, I knew she might be up, and I said, I don't know what just happened. I said, I don't know what just happened. Something happened here. This was a biggie. It was huge. And she said, well, God will show you the way. And I was like, okay. But I was so moved by it that I had a meeting the next morning. I had to leave, at 8:30 in the morning or something. And before I did that, I wrote Barb an email, which I don't know, was like probably the longest email I ever wrote.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know what happened. I want to thank you for allowing me to be there. I don't know what happened, but I do know that I cried all the way home. and that I was touched, and the stories that were told touched me, and I didn't just jump right into it. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to be a coach. You know, I just said, I don't know what happened, and I don't know what this was about, but there was a big, something changed in my life tonight. And then we just continued talking. She got certified first, and I became certified. And my life has never really been the same. I mean, you know, I've been helping people all my life. I started as a candy striper when I was like 13 years old at the hospital. You know what I mean?
Oh,
then
imagine that.
I went into nursing, and you know, I've been helping people all my life. But this has probably been the best stage of my life.
Well, it's taken you to a higher level. In fact, even when you became a certified life coach along with me at that time, I don't think you really knew what the niche was, and then it came to. I watch it every October. We both do this. Every October, we take a look at our lives and we go, okay, what do we need to adjust? That's my birthday month and my anniversary month and all that kind of good stuff. And so we have a lot in common. And I did want to write a book, but I didn't know how badly or how God would place this young lady in my life. And I'm ever so grateful for that. And I keep saying we're going to get this book done, and it's been a good little while, and it is in the process. It
and
truly
it's not like
is.
I don't try to motivate her.
No. She puts me on the spot right here.
Some of my authors say, if I haven't turned in something in this amount of time, you let me know. But Barb hasn't given me that go-ahead.
Because I haven't gotten the go-ahead. God, I'm waiting for that godly moment. And it has come through messages that are actually going into my book. And it goes back to mine and my husband's passion, which can now be told in the story. So it's all in God's timing. I mean, my husband spent $75,000. That was what? Back in 1996. And that's what they did back then, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, and more.
And Joe paid for an agent on his first book. He paid for an agent. I don't know exactly how much he paid, but he paid a lot of money for an agent, which got him nothing.
Yeah.
Got him nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just a lot of more debt. But
right.
So it's really interesting. And, of course, now everybody can publish. I mean, it's not like that's any secret. Everybody can publish their own book. There's a lot of steps to writing a book. I mean, you write the book. However, it usually needs some tweaking and some formatting and some editing and some graphics, and there's a whole lot that goes into it, a copyright, rewrites.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it scary, right? You're like, oh my gosh, me write a book? Because I'm like going, oh my goodness, I thank goodness for the computers because it says spell check, boom.
Well, you know, it's interesting.
It's not the correct way to spell, the sentence structure and this.
Right.
And my first language is Spanish, and it's crazy because I've been here, I'm 51, so I've been here 46 years, right?
51,
but I'm still thinking, I still think and translate. So the blue house or the house is blue, right? So my mind, when I'm writing, is like, oh my goodness, you better.
So maybe you ought to do it and then do it in Spanish and then translate it, right? And talk in the thing. What do you call it?
Dictaphone.
The dictaphone or whatever.
Your phone has a voice recorder.
Yeah, we'll get it through.
You speak Spanish?
No, but there are translation companies out there.
I'm like, oh my goodness. So it's scary. It's really.
No, it's your perception.
It is.
Scary.
It is my perception.
Because that's the perfect segue for me to take what happened at my home, right, on the night that you had this Sunday go-to meeting with yourself and Alice Delgado. It brings me to the question that I am going to ask you live on the air right here in front of God and everyone. And you know the answer. And you know the answer. If you had all the money in the world, everything was paid off. You don't need to work.
You don't ask me that right now.
You don't need to. You don't need to work. No, just envision. We're doing some guided imagery.
Okay.
Envision. Everything's paid off. Your house is paid off. Your car's paid off. You've got tons of money in the bank.
And tons of time.
Would you be doing what you're doing right now? And you know the answer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Bingo.
Absolutely.
Bingo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Exactly.
I feel good about it. I feel good. And it also is really important, I have to say this, is to surround yourself with like-minded people. I mean, I've been very blessed that I could sit there and, oh my goodness, Helena, you come over, Barbara, we talk, and it keeps me
Grounded.
Grounded, yeah, and focused, because we want the same things. We want to help people, right?
Well, yes.
It's the whole purpose of being able to, you share by writing, right, and helping people write. You share by so many ways.
Especially when we have to help you not levitate, because Krisula's going around all the time. She's levitating. She's at least a foot off the ground wherever she goes, because she's so high on life. And the message you have for your book is through your dad, who you recently lost. We all had a chance to meet and love Mike. And he lives through you, because you live a life without limits. Don't tell this lady she can't do something.
Oh my gosh,
We're
I
the
don't
same
want to
way.
hear that. It's like when people tell me, I have this. Oh, what do I do? And I'm going to go to the doctor, and they're going to have to hack into me. And I'm like, really? Listen to yourself. There's so many things we can do in life, and never sit there and accept, like, you can't do this. I'm like, I don't even want to hear those words.
I know. It's so true.
Crazy.
And you are a motivation.
She needs to buy one of those big erasers, like the giant erasers.
I mean, I tell people, when people sit there and say, well, this and that, whatever, I said, okay, did God or did the universe or did anybody give you a brain and tell you you're only allowed to use such and such? Did anybody tell you that?
No. A small percentage, like 10%
right.
of it.
Yeah. Can you imagine? And so, what do you mean we can't use the rest of it, or we can't try, right? What is it? I mean, we can do it. I don't like the word try either. It's like hope.
Well, you can do it. You can do it when you put your mind to it, and when you understand that life is all perception and choices. And when you make the choice that, you know what, I'm going to do this. It's just like you went through my husband's training program, master trainer. 200 questions, a big, thick manual.
Wait, how many bottles of wine? It took me 2 weeks. I'm like, does it work without wine? I don't know. Does it work with wine? I don't know.
Well, you got it. You got all the questions right.
I'm like, well, I guess that's it. This is it.
I tried everything. How long ago did you get certified in Tai Chi?
2013 was when I got my first certification, and then I got the master trainer in 2014. So I busted my butt for that year.
You really did. And talk about dedication. You are, I would say, probably the most dedicated to this whole philosophy. And we have quite a few. We have hundreds of certified instructors.
Thank you. That means a lot.
And as a master trainer, I mean, the training that she has to go through, she has to memorize all the moves and then demonstrate the moves. Now, how far are you in your levels? You've gone through the basic,
the gold.
So you're all the way through the gold.
Yeah, all I need is my last one,
which is your masters and your grand masters. And that you have, and we've gifted that to you. We were happy to do that. Because of your dedication, there's such a thing called rewards and dedication and devotion, and that's what you're doing. But what Krisula is also doing now is she's adding other alternatives to wellness. We all know Tai Chi, Qigong, it goes without saying. It's a wonderful exercise. It's great for everyone. And even the doctors are recommending it. But if you're looking to take yourself into a deeper level, to help yourself, there's other things that Krisula is doing, and we're going to talk about that now, because you're doing the herbs. You're going to become a certified herbalist.
Correct.
And let me tell you, she's really putting in her hours for that.
Fun.
And having fun.
And teaching my grandkids.
Yes.
I have my husband grazing at the park, which he won't let me down.
Oh, I love it. That's so great.
Yeah, and actually, I sat down with one of the women. She is part of the AGH. I'm not good with acronyms. Anyways, it's their herbalist borders, or herbalist borders and herbalist, something like that. Anyways, so I want to bring the chapter down to Tarpon, because the more I teach, right, the more you teach people, you learn. The more you learn,
yes, yes.
So I figured that that would help me learn more about it. And I'm so excited. We've been just very excited. So,
like she said, levitating. Yeah. Levitating excited.
Yeah.
yeah, flying goose, flying goose.
Well, and that gives us a little bit of it is just a little hint of what Krisula's doing. But the other thing that we want to talk about is something that you discovered. Has it been a couple of years since you were introduced to the Beamer mat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think February was 2 years. Last February was 2 years.
And so I just have to say that I am so grateful that you did incorporate the Beamer mat, because it's all about microcirculation. Because many of you may or may not know, if you saw it on Facebook, I was laid up for a good little while on a walker, toot, 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 and then the broken arm after that.
But look at you now.
But when Krisula heard I went down, thanks to Sharon Kistler and the walker toot, toot, that I borrowed from, Krisula says, I'm coming over with the Beamer.
Yeah.
And and I cannot even begin to tell you, I was diagnosed with a possible torn meniscus and ACL on my right knee. I didn't even have the MRI done on the left knee, but I knew that was injured. I went down on the dance floor supporting my tribe. Right? Oh, yeah, come on out with the girls tonight. They're all going through stuff. We need your support. I go, sure.
We supported her. Who's she talking about?
The first time, I never go out with the girls dancing. Maybe coffee or lunch or something like that.
Right.
But we went, and of course, I'm a Motown girl, so they're playing the Peppermint Twist. Well, you know the
boy,
story.
was she twisted, let me tell you.
Could I do that on two feet, 2 legs? No.
No, she had to be taking the other one, shaking it all around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So down I went.
On
that
heels.
was that.
On heels.
Oh, yeah. And I am back in my heels, though. I just want you to know.
That's what she just said to me. That's fantastic.
I'm doing maybe 2 minutes in the house with my pumps. They're just small, 2.5.
Yeah.
But this gal opened up her time and her heart, not once a day, but twice a day, daily, for weeks and months. And we're still at it as a maintenance. I could not bend my knee. Now, I'm not trying to make any claims or diagnosis. I need to get that disclaimer out there. Everybody's results are going to be different. All I'm sharing with you is what I know in my heart. The only thing different I did was this Beamer mat. I am now able to bend my knee. I'm even able to move it around. I'm able to turn. I'm even back on the dance floor. And when I prayed, I said, God, just give me my ability to walk again. I will give up my dancing. And my friends know that's
not possible.
Whoa, I was willing to give that up to be able to dance thanks to you. And then we opened up our villa to a small, tiny little group of friends because I wanted to see, and this one, believe me, and she was right there. I said, you better be here because I would not feel like this.
I remember, that's right. That's right. We're like, you better get,
because you had some issues. It was your back and your leg, right?
Right. I had some numbness in my leg, and I had gone to a neurologist. I had an MRI, gone to a neurologist, had testing done, and he was saying, well, you might get better if you spend $1,000 on decompression. And I was like, oh. And you might not get better if you spend $1,000 on decompression, which was not covered by insurance, I might add. And she invited me over, and I was like, why not? Why not? And Krisula and I knew each other, but not well. Yeah. I mean, we kind of have, seen each other around the time, we'd seen each other through Barb and at times, so I knew Krisula, and but we bonded, and I no longer am having any real problems with that leg at all. Probably because my other leg kind of went down. But anyway, so my right leg stepped up and my left leg kind of went down, and I'm seeing I'm doing PT now with that. But in the meantime, Krisula has helped me through this with her mat, and started at Barb's house, and then we moved back to Krisula's house, and we just moved that mat all over the place. It's the moving,
the magical mat.
The moving magical mat. Let's put that down as a little. Right. And if you want to know more about the mat, they can find out on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be doing at Krisula's place the Beamer Basics, Sunday, March 24th from 4 to 6. If you want to get a hold of Krisula, what's your phone number to call?
727-946-7225.
And you can come, and it's going to be very laid back. We're not going to try to sell you on anything. We want to educate people.
Absolutely.
If you really want to know information about something that could be an alternative for you, do give us a call. Get a hold of Krisula. And if you don't want to wait, make an appointment with her and go over and just talk with her about it, because I'll tell you, I am really sold on this. It's an amazing unit, and it's really becoming a household word. It truly is. And again,
in our houses for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And you have a great testimonial. Again, I need to do the disclaimer where we're not making any claims to cure or diagnose anything whatsoever. But it's almost like one of the news stations say, we report, you decide.
Yeah.
We give you the information, and you decide if it's something for you. It may not be, but for me, for you, and I know your husband, one of these days we're going to get Robbie on the show and have him share too.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
What made you purchase that?
My why. Do you want to know my why?
Yes.
Okay.
Sheila, did you hear that?
My why for why I'm here is my husband had a real quick. My husband had a quadruple bypass 2011, and the doctor said you need to do something. We got into a workshop with Master Kelly and Barbara, and my husband says, that's what I want to do. So we ended up doing Tai Chi, getting certified. Now, mind you, before all of this, I used to do the hard stuff, right? Anyway, so I was kind of excited to learn something different. We got into our Tai Chi. First of all, that was amazing because he was always in the chiropractors. He was always getting cortisone shots, and the day we began was, I think, a week after he got his shots on his left side. 3 months later, they called up and they're like, Robbie, you need to come in. And he's like, honey, if I'm not hurting, why should I go? Do I need to go? I'm like, no. He's never been. Since he's never been to a chiropractor, he's never been, no shots. So did great. Then we got into some rice product, which was amazing, helped us out. And then we got into the Beamer. So it's been such a progression, you know.
And that's what I love about you. It's not like you said, you went to the internet and you said, oh, let me try this product. Oh, I think this might be good. But you found some products through friends and whatever, and you've used them, and you've benefited from them.
Yes.
And as you benefit, you share that knowledge with your friends and your loved ones, and even her dog gets on the mat.
Yes, absolutely. Delilah.
How old's Delilah now?
She's going to be 15 in June.
I was going to say she's 14 years old, and she kind of walks a little slow, but when she puts her on the mat, guess what? Delilah is younger, and she's shaking her tail feathers. And the same thing, she puts her granddaughter broke her arm. Absolutely. She called the Beamer people up, and they told her how to
what to do,
what strength and everything to put the little machine on, because it has settings on it. I don't know any of this. I'm just talking because I've been there. And so they told her what to do for her granddaughter, and her granddaughter's doing much better.
Yeah, and my grandkids, for 2 years since we got it, they've been on it. So it's so funny. They're like, Abuelita, I'm grandmother. Abuelita, what setting am I on? And such and such. And they get on themselves. They love to mess with the buttons, and that's it. So.
And see, you're in your leadership role with your grandchildren, you're setting an example for them to look for other alternatives.
Absolutely.
At a young age. This is becoming standard. And again, I need to do the disclaimer as well. We're not making claims to heal broken bones or anything like that, just so you know.
But today it seems like we're teaching our kids to, if you've got a pain, you go and get a pill for it.
That's right.
And we know that there's a big problem with that. Where they're being taught, you have a pain, you go over here and take care of your body.
Right. And that's where what I love too about what I'm learning, right? Because I have them now grazing also. Mm-hmm. So we're learning about what are antifungals, what are antibacterials,
See,
and they're all
so
these
wonderful.
weeds. and everything that are actually outside your house.
Yes.
Just make sure they don't have pesticides.
Yeah, exactly.
Harder.
You don't want to eat
Exactly.
those.
See, you're
And the
ingraining
grandkids
that
are
in
doing
them,
it, yeah,
and they're gonna know that, and they're gonna be above board with knowing what to do for their bodies as alternatives. Now, I want to scoot on and have you explain a little bit about how microcirculation works with the Beamer. Just a little bit of information, and then we're going to have you back, and we're going to actually do a demonstration. Not today, but we will be doing another show, and my husband will come on because he's trying to get in the regimen because he's busy all day teaching Tai Chi and Qigong and certifying instructors and all of that kind of good stuff. But he's going to be eventually getting regular sessions with you. So when this was brought to you, what was the turn on? What was the buzzword for you?
Circulation, right? Reoxygenation, right? So I always say, you know.
But you didn't get it for you. You got it for Robbie.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, no, we're gonna wait. And he's like, honey, come on, you know, I need this, and this is better for me. And so, you know, finally, I'm like, you know what? All right, let's check this out, right? And so we ended up purchasing one, and it's so funny because, you know, we don't realize things that we have, right? Mm-hmm. And little by little, I'm like, oh, wow. Oh my goodness, that doesn't bother me anymore. And just little by little things.
And tell them what you do.
I do tries. I do triathlons.
She's a triathlete.
And how many have you done?
Oh my gosh, maybe about 9 now.
9 triathlons.
Yeah.
So she didn't start this when she was in her 20s.
No. I started at 49 because I wanted to do my first one by the time I was 50, and I actually did about 5 before I was 50.
Right.
She kicked my butt, my coach.
See that? See that? That is so
Bob, what happens when you use the Beamer?
Oh, okay. So I use it for actually for endurance. Mm-hmm. So I use it before and then after. And believe it or not, it's so funny because it's amazing. I go do my try. I come home and I feel like nothing happened.
That's what That's what Robbie says.
It's not like your whole body is like. If I did a try, my body would be going, "Oh my God!"
No, and you know, I got to tell you, I've actually transformed my whole life. This is what's going to be in the book. When I was young, I didn't start out. I was athletic here and there, but I did a lot of other crazy things. When I was 49, I realized that, you know what, I want to be around for my grandkids. I want to be able to take care of myself and not go to an ALF. I don't want to be a burden, right, to society, to myself, to anybody. And I'm like, I'm going to get my act together. So that's when I started the healing for myself. And I tell you, I joined this amazing group of people that are triathletes at this one club in Tarpon, and my coach is amazing. And, you know, little by little with, you know, I think the most important thing I can tell you is allow change, want change, and want to be better every day. That's my every morning. Mm-hmm. What can I do to make myself better? And what change is going to happen today? And embrace it, because we're so eager to say, no, I want this color. If it's not pink, I ain't going to get it, you know. But it's like, you know, sometimes we need that little bit of change to happen, you know. And that's really why I'm here, why I'm with you guys, you know, and why I'm very grateful to be here and to be able to share, because, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. We can always be better people, right?
Always.
And when we share and we do it from the heart, and I mean, I'm still learning.
We're all still learning.
Hopefully, aren't all of us.
We are all still. Life is a learning path.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what things are put before us. I mean, I never knew. I was asked to do a book when I was on HSN because I would share a lot of philosophies and this and that.
And she talked to the women in the wee hours of the morning, and they loved it. She had a lot of people who followed her because of that.
I wasn't selling products, I guess I was selling life. And I was kind of like, I guess the girl next door. I mean, women would call up when we were able to, take our phone calls on our own. And, women just went through a double mastectomy, or a woman just lost her husband, or some of the funny little stories. And it was just so nurturing for me to see that they were picking something up from here to there.
Right.
And they gave back to me, and they all said, you need to write a book. Me write a book? Like you said,
Yeah.
the fear factor stepped
Like,
in,
oh
right?
my gosh,
Yeah.
in Spanish,
Yeah.
and English.
Well, I was even thinking English. Really? Really? And then as I got to thinking about it,
Oh
I said,
my goodness, my mom is going, oy, Krisula, con cuidado. Be careful.
how beautiful that is. Yeah, right.
Oh my goodness, I snorted.
Yes, we keep it real here, folks.
Yes, we are
Oh, my
definitely very
goodness.
real. But you see how the circle here, this little tribe, if you
Yeah.
will, of the tribe, really sticks together, and we help one another. And you just never know
That's what we're here for.
You
And
just
somehow
never
or another, I
know.
think people in general have lost that. I mean, look
Yeah.
what's happened
Yes.
this last week even. And we've forgotten that we're all created to be brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
We're all created. It doesn't matter that you were born in Ecuador.
No.
Am I right?
Colombia, but that's close enough.
Or Afghanistan, whatever. Or that she was born in, I don't know where she was born, but she lived a lot in Michigan. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know,
it
it
doesn't.
doesn't
No,
matter.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
You know, and just
No.
because we happen to be local now and we've gravitated to each other, that's great. But I also have, and I know we all have friends that are in other countries or other parts of the United States that we feel very close to.
Yes, absolutely.
But we are here to share. And I think that's what the biggest part about this is you can share a number of ways. And, I don't just talk to my people about sharing in their books. I talk to them about sharing on social media, podcast and audio. I mean, there are so many options, obviously. Video. Where are
Yes.
we today? Video. And so that's what kind of pulls, that's the glue that pulls all of us together, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
is the fact that we all want to make it better.
Absolutely. And like you were saying, too, you want to be around for your grandchildren.
Yes.
So do I, and my great-grandchildren.
Right.
And one of the
It's going
worst...
to be a while for your great-grandchildren.
Yeah, it will be. But even still, and, I just turned 70 last year.
We're
And
young.
so did you, right? Yeah. Except you are
know.
older than me.
She always has to do it.
I like to say that. 1 month. Now, what friends
so
can talk
bad.
about that and get away with it, right?
Here I am sitting here going, yeah, I'm 50. And she goes, you turned 70 last. It's like you can't keep anything from these people.
No.
That's what
you
I
know
said.
what?
We're real.
It's just a number. And if you
Absolutely.
feel like that too, if you think, I want what they have. Have you ever felt like that? Like you're watching a TV show or you're attending some event and you see somebody that just lights up a room, they're like a magnet, and you just think to yourself, I want that. You have it.
Yeah.
You have it inside of you. I know that, and that's why I'm writing all these books, and it's taking me forever. How many times have I said I'm getting on my own nerves?
Hundreds.
Exactly. And the thing is like...
And she's good, let me tell you. I've read her writing. I mean, you see her here, and, she is good at this. She's wonderful
Oh,
at this.
you're so sweet.
But I've seen her writings. I've taught classes where I give her something to write on, and quicker than that, she can just come up with something. I'm like, I'm sitting there with my mouth open. And not just her, but my other students as well. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I am the teacher, but these people are talented. You are talented.
Thank you.
And it's just a matter of getting out of her own way. And she says this all the time.
It is. It's lighting the fire. I have the burning fire. I have the fire, the desire, the fire in the belly, as they say, because I'll tell you why. I see what's going on out there in the world, and I don't like it. There's a lot of good stuff going on, like the little pockets of light workers. Like I have these 2 beautiful women sitting right next to me that are those light workers, and there's many of you watching today that are those light workers. And some of you may go, oh, what's she going on about light workers? I mean what I say. You're sharing the light that shines within you When you were born, we were all born with it. We were all born in greatness. We were all born perfect. It doesn't matter what color you are, what language you speak, or anything like that. We are all sisters and brothers. and it's one of those things where, you know what, I'm very passionate about the get the message out, even though I never thought I'd write a book. But I found myself 15 years on HSN, it wasn't about the blue topaz because it's a blue topaz. It was how you were going to feel wearing that blue topaz, whether it was a pendant or a ring. I didn't even realize I was doing this. It was all about the story.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying to you, and I know that we're running short on time. We have, I don't know how many minutes left. They'll tell me 12 minutes left. Oh, that's a lifetime in TV. But I just wanted to get what I wanted to say out so that you know we all do have
like
this
that.
story. And
She's got to say what she's got to say.
I got to say what I got to say, and these girls are saying what they got to say. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to be quiet.
Oh, no.
If you can believe that. And I'm going to let you guys just, talk about Krisula is, has her dad living through her today. In fact, because of you, as you know, I do now have a chapter in my book called Life Without Limits, and that's going to be our interview.
That is so amazing.
That's going to be our
you're here.
interview. Yep.
Let's talk about Mike for a minute, because, Mike had a book. Mike has a book.
Yes.
Mike had a book before he passed. And Mike was a big presence. And even though I knew him a short time, he was a big presence, and I know he's a big presence in your life. And he would be saying, Krisula, just do it.
Yes,
just do
absolutely.
It, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he, I think he's here. I think Mike is right here with us. And I think he was happy that he knew that you were going in the direction you were going.
Yeah.
And he was also the one who taught you a lot about the not give up spirit.
Yes.
And so you're going to actually prolong his message through your books. So it will be his message and your message when you put it into your writings.
That's a great
You
way.
will be sharing, and not just your father, your mother. We carry on,
Yes,
right?
yes,
we carry
yes.
on the little lessons that we've had in life and stories that we've had from our childhood sometimes. Not always, because you could be writing a fiction book or you could be writing something about weight loss. But in your case, that she is a certified coach, I might add. She was certified with Cher
Kistler,
who is our friend, and you see her all the time on the
Women Unscripted.
Women Unscripted show. So she's certified with that, but she's taken this direction. She may or may not have known the direction she was going when she became certified, but we saw Mike. A couple things about Mike. How old was Mike when he passed?
91.
91. I saw Mike get on that Beamer every day. So that prolonged his life and prolonged his storytelling, which he's a wonderful storyteller. And I saw him, go upstairs when I didn't think it might be easy for him, but he's doing it. He just kept coming back toward the end. And that's what you do, and that's what you've been taught all your life, so it's so much easier. But you are, like I said, it's not just your story. And it's you never know who you're going to touch, and that's what's so important about these books. We never know who's going to pick this up and read a few words that's going to change their life.
It's true. And I do need to do a disclaimer. We're not making any claims to extend anyone's life here on the Beamer or anything like that.
No.
But we just want you to be aware of what we're all doing here and how Mike is truly living through you, and 91 years of nothing but expressive life, adventure and things that he just wasn't ever afraid to do.
And what's amazing is, and gosh, there's so much I love and I take from him, and he too had been through things in his life. And you know what? He would say that his life was fun. He had a great life.
Yeah.
That was like one of the most important things that he told us. Because then we're like at ease.
Bitch and moan is what you're saying. No,
he wasn't like, wah, why me? He's like, oh, well, okay. let's move on. Let's do this. I mean, it was just great. You know, it was fantastic to hear him and to see him. And when he laughed from the gut. He laughed. He forgot about every little problem or every little thing. And he was always, you know what, now that we're talking, he was always in what? The present.
Yes.
And that is and I don't, it just came to me when we were talking. I'm like, it's so amazing, but he always was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh my gosh. It was like when he was here and we would take him to the beach, he was there. When he would go to dinner, he was you know, so it was a really neat thing that he did automatically, you know. And my dad never read books. He didn't have time. I mean, he read the newspaper, you know, and things like that, magazine here and there while he was traveling. But to say that he read a lot of books, it was not, he didn't have the time.
Sure.
He was up at 4 in the morning and he worked, crazy. And then he went to bed, tried to go to bed by 10 because he was up at 4 in the morning again. And it didn't matter if it was Saturday or Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. It was all the same, you know.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I tell you, that is so crazy. And well, let's give your dad's name because Mike, what is his last name? Salikas. Okay. Yeah. You can check out National Geographic. He used to wrestle anacondas and things in the Amazon. And,
he did a lot with National Geographics. We did things with IMAX. He did things with, what was it, Mutual of Omaha. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, and he had a zoo here in Tarpon.
Yeah, Tarpon Zoo. Yeah.
And he did wonderful things from where you're from, too, for the people there, too.
Yeah.
So he was quite a
very
philanthropist. Yes.
Very giving. And I know that helped all of us because we knew that he always gave, you know, he was always from the heart. He was always helping, you know, and oh my goodness, we had here at the house, when we were young, we had revolving doors. It was like, oh my goodness, who's this? Who? We don't know, Dad. Somebody that Dad brought. So, you know, it was really, you know.
I tell you, I'm so glad that we had the chance to meet Mike when he'd come over and he'd sit out on your deck with little squirrels and their babies.
Attacked by the squirrel.
Got attacked by the squirrels. I mean, you know what?
You can't make it.
So many people are trying to, and I think we've all been there. If we've worked for corporate America, we know what it's like, and we just keep chasing the dollar, chasing the dream. But the dream is right here, and you're living this dream now. And you were a caregiver for a couple of your family members for a long time.
My mother-in-law, and helped out with my dad. My sister did too. He lived with my sister.
Yeah.
And
did that help motivate you to step into where you're at today?
Yeah, I think that everything, because you want to help people. And those are transitional times that sometimes, like when my father passed, like you said, he's with me. And to me, now he's with me 24 hours a day, you know. And he was 91, you know, so my goodness, he enjoyed life. Why am I going to get upset? I'm so grateful that he did what he did, right?
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I spent this time with him. So I don't, you know, I don't associate that with crying or this. Or I feel like, wow. You know, I feel great for him. There's, you know, he's happy. He's with Mom. He's with, you know, he's probably wrestling snakes too, you know.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you, this book, I can't wait to see how you guys are going to collaborate this, and we're just all honored to be able to do the show here on WeBeam TV through the airwaves. I mean, this goes worldwide, and we're going to be continuing to do this show. Hopefully, we'll be bringing more authors on as we have authors, and if you would like to be an author, and think about what we said earlier throughout the whole show, everyone has a story, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone.
And she's amazing. Helena, if it wasn't for you, I don't even think I would be even thinking about it. So thank you.
Yeah. It's funny how you don't think of writing a book yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
You're like, oh, my life is so boring. No. Not by our standards.
You
like
all
certain
people.
things like,
oh, and you know what? Before I forget, sweetheart, how much time do we have there, guys? 2 minutes. You have a walk coming up you are going to be doing a walk in Tarpon. Tell us quickly about that.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing a cultural historical walk, one on Dodecanese and the other one on Main Street, and that includes Spring Bayou. I will have more information as we get closer. Probably mid-April we'll bring that out.
Okay,
so
and you'll be back on Women Unscripted.
Wonderful.
The end of the month.
Thank you.
And maybe we can talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have all that ready.
And you, Miss Thang? What you got going?
I'm here. I don't have anything going on.
Just they get a hold of you through your phone number.
Sure, 727-457-9391. And I'm all over Facebook and social media.
Yay! I didn't know that.
Tinkerbella. Tinkerbella, a name that she gave me.
So, can somebody come and have a little free consultation?
Oh, absolutely. Everything is complimentary in the beginning.
Right, right. So and you make it affordable.
You can know, and it is affordable. I mean, that's the whole point, is that I customize it to each person. So it's not like I said, you can have an inexpensive cover or you can have an expensive cover. What goes in this inside, is going to be yours. And that's the other part. A lot of people want to change everything up. It goes to editing, you come back, you say, I didn't write that. I don't do that to you. This is your story. I'll help you tell it to the best that I can. And if I can't do it, then I have people who can help you.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. So, if you'd like to get a hold of either of these gals, feel free to do so. We'll be back next week. More to come right here on Primetime.